Hi, Jenny here. So, in this video, I will be talking about Kekri and what it is, the history of it, and so on. Kekri is a Finnish harvest autumnal festival that has been celebrated in Finland for many centuries. And it's not really a thing anymore in Finland, so I kind of wanted to bring attention to it. More so because last year I think I saw TikToks that were like, you non-Finns have Halloween, we have Kekri. And I just don't think that's great like positioning, because I don't think Kekri is Finnish Halloween. It's its own entity, but of course they have roots in the similar traditions which we will be talking about. So that's the topic of this video. If you would like to see more from me, subscribe to this channel. Since there's a lot to discuss in this video, I will be looking down at my notes. Sorry about that. Kekri is a harvest festival and it was mostly celebrated among families in the countryside. But as mentioned before, it's not really celebrated, like it's not a holiday day anymore. I mean, in my family we celebrated it when I was growing up, and we still do. And one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video is because when I was a teenager I did not appreciate Kekri at all. Whenever my mom would say like, okay, Kekri is coming, I would be like, I want to be with my friends. So I kind of want to make that ignorance right now as an adult and maybe spread some information and so on. So about the history of Kekri, as I mentioned before, it is connected to other harvest celebrations that were celebrated in Europe, and celebrations started about before the thousands, actually, well before Christianity was in Finland. There was no specific date when Kekri was celebrated. It was like during the autumn season, but nowadays it has kind of become traditional to have it in between October, November, in one of those days. This year it's on November 5th. Kekri was celebrated mostly in the countryside because it marked the ending of the harvesting season, and it was a way to kind of prepare for the upcoming year and winter. There's also this aspect of servants of families changing families or going home. So there would be an exchange of servants as well, if I remember correctly. Some of the traditions include, and yes, everything differs town to town, family to family, but some traditions that I could find online was that families would start cooking early in the day so that they would have good fortune in the upcoming year. And they would cook meat and bread and potatoes and stuff like that, very traditional for Finnish countryside. I also read that families would have to feed everyone that they saw, everyone, including strangers. Well, some families opted out from that. But the more you fed people, the more luck you would get in the year, and you would have to eat 9 times during that day, again, to bring luck in the new year. There is also a spiritual aspect to Kekri. So in the old times, families would heat up the sauna, which is a key part of Finnish culture, for their ancestors who have passed, so that the ancestors would be happy. So they would go to the sauna as the families would prepare dinner and a feast. So then when the families who were still living went to sauna, the ancestors who had passed on would go and have a meal in the feast. I think that's really cool, to be honest. People would also do some spells to secure a good upcoming year. I couldn't find these specific spells, but that was a big part of it as well. I don't know, like, considering my own family history, if they did any spells, but maybe it was more so like out of custom, out of tradition that they did those spells. I don't know, but again, another cool aspect of Kekri. A big part of celebrating Kekri was having a Kekri-pukki, which is a goat made out of straws. I'll insert a photo somewhere here. Historically, this meant that young people would dress up as these goats and go to house, but also Kekri would be burned as a bonfire as well. And the point of these Kekri celebrations and festivals was that it was super fun, it was very wild, super energetic and fun. Even though there was this aspect of past ancestors, it was still like light-hearted and fun and happiness all around. So those were some historical traditions and facts. Obviously, every family, every town differs. It's impossible to cover it all, but those were some basics. And then of course, Christianity came into Finland. Let me check. I'd say around 1300s, 1400s. And this was when Kekri as a celebration kind of changed a little bit, gradually, but it did over the centuries, because of course Christians saw Kekri as a pagan celebration, almost as demonic, I read somewhere, which is, of course they did. But then later on, Kekri would be combined with All Saints' Day, which is celebrated around the same time. And with that, Kekri became more solemn, serious holiday where remembering the people who have passed on became more central in it, while before it was that ancestors were kind of celebrated and so on, like from a positive perspective. With Christianity coming along, it became more serious. But then in 2009, an organization of peasant culture, Talonpoikaiskulttuurisäätiö, started a project to bring back Kekri as it used to be, a happy harvest celebration. Now you're thinking, well, is there a connection to Halloween? As mentioned before, yes, because Halloween started out as like an autumnal celebration to mark the beginning of wintertime. And Celtic started Halloween celebrations, and there was a connection to afterlife. Well, Wikipedia said, yes, and it's Wikipedia, that it's All Saints' Day that has kind of connection to the Halloween and other European harvest autumnal celebrations rather than Kekri. But of course, Kekri also has connections to those. However, when you think about modern celebrations, Halloween, especially in America, trick-or-treating, horror movies, spookiness, yeah, it's not, I mean, they are both, or like, should be fun celebrations, Kekri and Halloween, but I feel like Halloween leans more to the like horror side than Kekri. Kekri is more about the harvest season and being from the countryside and so on. Alright, how to celebrate in the modern day. So for me and my family, sauna, of course, is important. And food, drink, of course, is very important. For example, different types of stews are hugely important. Quality time with family, visiting relatives, maybe visiting a graveyard. And then having that Kekri goat made of straws is mentioned. And some cities, like small cities or towns, still arrange those kind of bonfires where they burn a Kekri. And yeah, with my family we do good food, sauna, candles, it feels very cozy, we visit relatives and so on. So in conclusion, I just wanted to make this video sharing information about a celebration that you might not know about and kind of honor my own roots and celebrations and traditions. As I mentioned, yeah, as a teenager, I didn't really care about Kekri. I was maybe even a little bit embarrassed by it, which makes me so sad. But you know, as a teenager, everything is embarrassing apparently. So I hope that with this video, I can kind of make up some of that ignorance that I had as a teenager. And yes, I will be going to visit my mom for Kekri on November 5th as well. Alright, so thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. I'll leave some links and sources in the description box. Most of them were in Finnish, but maybe I'll try to find something in English as well. I hope I see you in the next one. Bye!